Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a crucial list of 8 wealth-killing habits to understand exactly why you might feel, well, completely stuck in the rat race, despite working incredibly hard. It's a hugely frustrating reality for so many of us, right? You put in the hours, you grind day after day, yet the needle on your bank account just barely seems to move. So let's look at exactly why that happens.
Let's just dive right into this pressing question. We're going to explore the specific daily choices that inadvertently trap us in a cycle of financial stagnation. You know, society feeds us this narrative that sheer effort is the golden ticket to financial freedom. But the reality, working hard at the wrong things or with the wrong framework is literally like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're exhausted, but you aren't actually traveling anywhere.
To break this all down, we're going to organize things into 3 core pillars. 1, trapped in earning. 2, the spending illusion. And 3, a flawed financial mindset.
Okay, let's kick things off with Pillar 1, trapped in earning. The very first major trap here is what's called working without learning. Basically, this means you might be working incredibly hard, but your skill set is remaining completely stagnant. Just imagine doing the exact same tasks using the exact same methods for 5 straight years. Sure, you're exerting a ton of energy, but your actual market value isn't increasing at all. You're essentially repeating your first year of experience over and over again rather than building 5 years of compounding expertise.
And honestly, refusing to learn directly caps your career trajectory. When your skills are totally stagnant, you're obviously missing out on advancement opportunities. But worse, you become highly vulnerable to being replaced by automation or AI. It's a massive problem, and it's heavily compounded by our next wealth killer, which is a fear of technology.
Avoiding new tech tools rather than mastering them absolutely prevents you from adapting. In today's landscape, technology is the ultimate lever, right? It literally allows one person to do the work of 10. If you have a fear of technology, maybe you avoid learning that new software, or you resist integrating digital tools into your workflow, you are essentially choosing to dig a trench with a spoon while the guy next to you is learning to operate an excavator. You're working harder, for sure, but they are producing exponentially more value.
Which brings us to a crucial point. Relying on just one income source leaves you entirely dependent on a single paycheck, making you highly vulnerable to any disruption. If all your financial security is tied up in one employer, a single corporate restructuring or economic downturn can wipe out 100% of your cash flow overnight. Bam, gone. It's the financial equivalent of a single point of failure. Diversifying your earnings is exactly how you build a fortress around your financial life.
All right, moving right along to Pillar 2, the spending illusion.
You really have to be aware of lifestyle inflation. It's this incredibly dangerous habit of immediately upgrading your car, your apartment, or your wardrobe the exact moment you earn more, effectively neutralizing your hard-won raise. Think about how common this is. You grind for 2 long years to get a 10% bump in salary, and literally the very next weekend, you go out and lease a more expensive vehicle. You are working harder than ever, making more money than ever, but your net wealth increase, it's precisely 0.
And this feeds directly into another major trap, buying liabilities instead of assets. People unknowingly purchase things that drain their wealth rather than things that generate it. Look, an asset is something that works for you, like a piece of real estate or a dividend-paying stock. It puts money in your pocket over time. A liability, on the flip side, actively takes money out of your pocket. You know the old joke, right? A boat is just a hole in the water that you throw money into. When you spend your hard-earned cash entirely on depreciating liabilities, you are literally buying your way into financial stagnation.
That brings us to our third and final pillar, a flawed financial mindset. A core trap holding so many people back is a fundamental lack of financial education. This means incredibly hardworking folks are operating day-to-day without the basic, foundational knowledge required to build lasting wealth. And hey, it's not totally our fault. We aren't exactly taught this in standard schooling. But if you don't understand how compound interest works, where your money actually earns interest on itself to grow exponentially over time, or how inflation quietly eats away at your purchasing power, you are essentially playing a highly complex game without even knowing the rules. And that big 0 right there, that represents earning absolute 0, which is the direct consequence of no investing. Listen, you cannot save your way to true wealth. If your money is just sitting idle in a piggy bank or a standard checking account, inflation is out there quietly eroding its value every single day. The wealthy don't just work for their money, they make absolutely sure their money goes to work for them.
Ultimately, all of this stems from short-term thinking. This mindset prioritizes instant gratification today, way over the patience required for true financial freedom tomorrow.
It's the psychological hurdle that makes lifestyle inflation so tempting and investing seems so, well, boring. Short-term thinking wants the flashy designer watch today. Long-term thinking wants the financial independence to buy back your own time a decade from now.
So, let's wrap this up. Conclusion: breaking the cycle.
By consolidating these 8 distinct wealth killers, everything from working without learning right down to short-term thinking, we now possess a pretty comprehensive diagnosis of why hard work alone just isn't enough. If you're doing all the heavy lifting but still stepping on these 8 landmines, your effort is being completely sabotaged by your strategy. You've got to pair your hard work with continuous learning, incredibly disciplined spending, and a rock-solid long-term investment mindset.
As we close out this explainer, you really have to look in the mirror and ask yourself a slightly uncomfortable question. Which of these wealth-killing habits are you going to break first? Awareness is the first step, for sure, but action is literally the only thing that changes your trajectory. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I'm going to leave you to ponder that question. Let's get to work on building true wealth.